Hello everyone and welcome back to K's Models. My name is Greg and today we're going to be taking a look at a newer product from Golden Gate Depot, the 1952 Olympian Hiawatha. So stick around, I'll give you my thoughts on this model, what I like, what I don't like, and then I'll give it a run around the layout. So stick around. So before going into the review, I'll give you a little bit of prototype information on this train. So this set is depicting the 1952 variant of the Olympian Hiawatha, which is a little bit different from the other variations also being offered by Golden Gate Depot, where this one has the Skytop Lounge observation and the Superdome, as well as a slightly different paint scheme. These cars have black roofs, where the 1949 train had gray roofs. Also, later on, this train was painted in a Union Pacific armor yellow when the Milwaukee Road started using Union Pacific trackage for this train. So the Olympian Hiawatha debuted in 1947 as a competitor for the Great Northern's Empire Builder and the Northern Pacific's North Coast Limited. The train would depart from Chicago, where it would then take its route through the Pacific Northwest, famous for the scenery in that area, on a 43-hour, 30-minute schedule touted as being faster than any of the speedliners. Now, unfortunately, this train only lasted 14 years due to what Milwaukee Road claimed was low ridership, but is often seen as really just the Milwaukee Road seeing writing on the wall that airlines were the future and this was just not a profitable business venture. For the Milwaukee Road, this train was never a financial success. Now we'll move on to the model. Golden Gate Depot is producing this train in a 8-car set, as well as a 4-car add-on, and the Superdome is sold separately as 1 car. The 8-car set includes the baggage express car, a baggage dormitory, 2 coaches, a diner, 2 14-section Duralux sleepers, and the Skytop Lounge. The 4-car set includes the Tip Top Tap Lounge, an extra coach, a 10-6 sleeper, and an RPO. All of these cars are made of extruded aluminum. The Superdome is actually a brass model. And all of the cars are equipped with roller bearing trucks, knuckle couplers, and have screw holes with mounts ready to go for conversion to KDs. These cars are also equipped with flicker-free LED lighting, which looks really nice with the lights off. They did a really good job with the way these are lit, as well as fully detailed interiors with 10 figures per car from the factory, as well as individually painted chairs and tables. The interiors on these are as good as it gets from factory models in O-scale. So if you do the math really quick, this in total is a 13-car train, which is huge. This train is easily over half the length of this layout when you put the whole thing together. I only usually run this train in about 7 or 8 car lengths, but even had such a huge size, this train with the roller bearing trucks and the updated way that Golden Gate Depot is putting these cars together, especially looking at the early 1938 20th Century Limited, this train, I've been putting pretty much any Milwaukee Road power in front of this train, any passenger power, and I haven't really had any motive power issues. This train isn't that heavy and the rolling resistance is not bad for how big of a train this is. I was able to put a first run Lionel Legacy bipolar on this and it pulled all 13 cars very easily. Also, I have no gradients on this layout, so that also helps a lot. Now these cars are really good from the factory and really don't require much to make them perfect for me at all, but I did do a few things just for personal preference. I put a KD on the front of the RPO, but that's just out of personal preference. Most of my motive power has KDs on it, and all of the engines that I would be pulling this train with already have KDs on them, so that was just a personal move. These cars all have holes for the KD mounts that Golden Gate Depot makes, but these cars don't come with them. So you can ask Golden Gate Depot for them. They'll send them to you. I had to use a step-up coupler for this. I don't think this is the right mount for it personally. I just had this one laying around from other Golden Gate Depot cars. So if you ask, they'll probably give you one that works fine. This one had to be modified slightly, but this isn't the one meant for this car anyway. Now behind this you can see that there is a knuckle coupler there for reference. So if you watched my previous review of the Rock Island Rocket, you would have seen that I noted that the cars on that train did not have thumbtacks on the knuckle couplers. Now these ones don't either. This train came out before the Rocket though, but either way, they didn't put the thumbtacks on these couplers, and I'm really happy they didn't, because I have not had a single problem with these cars uncoupling as a result. They stay together and they look a lot nicer, and they stay really close together too. The diaphragms pretty much touch on the straights, and they look really good going around 072 curves. So here we are at the Skytop Lounge. Looking at it, you can tell that this is a great model. The window work, as well as the individually applied side fluting and the raised individually applied lettering on the side, and the interiors are really well done. There's only two things that I didn't really like on this model. You can see the rear light is very bright. You can't tell from this angle, but whenever I tried to videotape this thing, the lens flare was insane. Also, it wasn't painted red from the factory, which is something that they got wrong. Every photo that I could look at, this thing had a red painted lens on it, as well as it not being stupendously bright. One other thing I noticed was the lettering, even from the factory. You could probably see it's coming off a little bit right there. It's not that bad. You could probably tack it back with a little bit of canopy glue or similar. Personally, I don't think it's that big of a problem. It is metal. It's not plastic. It's not going to crack and break. But that's all I have to say about that. Now, two more things before we move on. One thing I noticed is on the top window, you can see that the PCB for the overhead lighting, it kind of protrudes. You can see it through the top window. That's something I would have liked to see trimmed back a little. Maybe one of these days I'll open this car up and trim that back. I'm pretty sure there's no lights right there to get in the way. One other thing I did change is I added a Protocraft coupler to the back. These couplers look a lot better than a regular KD, which is what this car came with from the factory. And what I did is I just replaced it. I think it looks a lot nicer, especially on a car of this high degree of detail. I think it deserves a nice coupler like that. Now let's take a look at the Superdome. This car is, like I mentioned before, the only brass car on the consist. This car is separately sold and doesn't come with either the 8-car or the 4-car set. Like the rest of the cars, this car is equipped with ball bearing trucks and full LED flicker-free lighting, as well as a fully detailed interior with plenty of figures on the inside. Just looking at the model, also on the rest of the cars, there's a small Hiawatha emblem on the side there. That is a individually applied metal piece, which I really like. That's not printed on there. There's also a ton of other separately applied grab irons and stuff, which for what this car is worth, it should. One problem I did have with this car though is when I took it out of the box, one of the pieces of window glazing for the dome was pushed in. I might have done that by accident while unboxing it. Maybe it came like that from the factory, but either way, this car was not that hard to take apart, and I was able to just push it back up with a little bit of Scotch tape, which is what the rest of this was held on with, and it's held up with no problem since. Just, you gotta watch out for that. It may be easy to push that glazing in. One more car I want to focus on before we move on is the nicknamed Tip Top Tap Lounge. This car is available separately in the 4-unit set and is a very nice car as well. The interior is very nicely done, and the roof detail is perfect. If you look inside, you'll notice the offset tables as well as the triangular tables, and all the other different sizes of chairs and tables, all individually painted as well as all the figures. This is a car that I believe is really well done and thought I should focus on for a second. Now personally, I had very few running issues with these cars. They all roll really nicely, and the couplers have only presented like only one or two of them have been opening on their own, but just a small rubber band fixes that, as I don't really feel like going through the whole train and taking off all these knuckle couplers and replacing them with KDs for just because of one or two bad apples. So there are only two things of note when regarding the whole set. One car had a diaphragm that was mounted upside down. I don't know how that happened, but I may go in and replace that at some point. They are rubber. I'm pretty sure they're just glued in. I can just pull it out and put it right back in, right side up. One other thing I had was a recurring derailment issue, which I believe is actually the fault of my track work, but I thought should be something I should note in the video. So that about wraps it up for everything I have to say about this train. If I missed anything, let me know down below in the comments section. If there's anything that I missed that you would like to know, I'd be happy to answer any questions down in the comments. So stick around and we'll do a quick running session with them. Now for motive power, I'll be using a set of third rail Milwaukee Road E7s, an AA set. I will be focusing on these engines in a future video. I just want to run them in a little more, and then they'll show up and you'll see these engines again in a future video. So let's get started. Alright, so that about wraps it up for this video. Feel free to subscribe and to stay tuned for more future product reviews and project updates. So, hope to see you all in the next video.